Tonight on 7 News Tasmania, schools out again. Teachers walk off the job in a fresh wave of industrial action. Shock claims Tasmanian patients have died unnecessarily in overcrowded emergency departments. How the fuel crisis is impacting our tourism sector. Calls for Tasmanians to help. Iran taunts Donald Trump over his threats to obliterate the country. Staff to be briefed on their futures as administrators take over Liberty Bell Bay. And after a sellout season opener, how many spectators will fit in the stands for the Devils' second game?
This is 7 News Tasmania with Kim Millar.
Good evening. Families are again being left in the lurch as a bitter pay dispute between teachers and the state government drags on. For the second time in 4 months, every state school will close as staff walk off the job while each side accuses the other of playing politics.
It's pencil cases and books down for public school students. Parents now scrambling to make new care plans.
There'll certainly be lots of us that'll have to make other arrangements or we'll miss out on our jobs for the day, which obviously there's a flow on from that.
This is a sudden decision, you know.
With teachers rolling out full-day strikes.
I know how hard they have to work and what they have to go through.
Not everyone happy about the additional time off.
Sad because I don't get to do maths. I like maths as well.
The education unions push for better pay and conditions.
And that impacts on people like casual workers or people who are in their own business where they can't just simply take a day off.
Impacting all of Tasmania's 192 state schools, starting in the northwest region tomorrow, followed by the north on Wednesday and Thursday in Hobart and across the state south, after the AEU rejected the government's latest wage proposal.
It's part of a political strategy by the Australian Education Union to upset the Education Minister at the May election.
That type of comment by Guy Barnett is an insult to the people standing behind me.
That is one of the most offensive things I've ever heard one of the Liberals say.
Marking a new low point in the long-running dispute.
We want to see the government see how serious our members are.
We'd ask them to pass on this fair and fulsome offer that was made late last week to all the teachers concerned.
Both sides standing their ground as the impact is felt by Tasmanian families.
And it's not just education workers taking industrial action this week. State political reporter Anthony Dodd joins me now, and Anthony, health workers and other public servants will be walking off the job too.
Kim, up to 1,300 health union members will be taking action over the next 3 days. Now that will involve partial and full day strikes with allied health professionals and paramedics among others, and public servants who work in child safety, parks and wildlife and libraries will be taking partial days off alongside them. In addition to that, the three unions will be staging rallies in all three regions. That's the northwest, north and southern parts of Tasmania as part of their industrial action. It's all aimed at putting pressure on the government to put forward pay and conditions offers they argue is fair for their workers. The government maintains it's negotiating in good faith and wants to see members of each workforce get a pay rise. But the sticking point continues to be by just how much and when deals can be struck at a time where the government is looking to rein in spending to mend its ailing budget. Kim?
Okay, thank you, Anthony. And Tasmania's nursing union is claiming overcrowding and staff shortages may have led to the deaths of patients at Launceston's General Hospital. The health department says it's not been made aware, while the government stands by its hospital investment record.
Parked in a hallway and left to wait.
Having patients stay up to 40, 50 hours in the department waiting for a bed upstairs.
These new pictures, taken last week and obtained exclusively by 7 News, appear to show patient after patient sitting idle as they wait for care.
Sometimes it is inevitable to give fluids or IV medications out in the waiting room because there's not enough space.
These revelations coming as the union drops a medical bombshell, claiming bed shortages and staffing pressures at the hospital played a role in at least 2 patient deaths.
But what our members are concerned about is the fact that they're not able to give patients the best opportunity to recover from their illness and injuries when they're inside the four walls of a hospital.
The Department of Health hitting back today, saying they are not aware of any adverse patient outcomes or incidents, and that all patients are triaged on arrival to the hospital. That statement coming under fire at today's press conference.
This track record, though, isn't good. They were unaware of child abuse scandal in the hospital. They were unaware of a senior doctor falsifying death certificates. Are we just going to take them on their word that people aren't dying?
Well, our government's position is that health is a top priority.
Look, I heard a nurse speak about this morning, and I'll believe nurses every day. 7
News has not been able to verify the union's claims.
If there's any evidence otherwise, of course, people should come forward.
Alessandro Rossini, 7 News.
The search for a man missing in waters off the northwest coast has ended in tragedy. Police discovering the body of a 36-year-old. He'd been out on the water with 3 family friends, one of them a child, when they were thrown from their boat. Aaron Smith has the latest.
The man's body was discovered on the eastern side of Robbins Island earlier today following an extensive search. It's a sad end to a multi-day operation which saw his crewmates rescued from the nearby Big Stony Island 16 hours after their fishing trip turned to disaster. The alarm was first raised yesterday morning when the group failed to return from a Saturday evening fishing trip off Montague. They'd struck trouble around 9 p.m. the night before, the crew believed to be thrown into the water as their boat capsized. A large-scale air and sea search was launched, and by yesterday afternoon, a 27-year-old woman, a 33-year-old man and their 6-year-old child were spotted washed ashore. All wearing life jackets, they were cold, tired but otherwise uninjured and brought here to the Northwest Regional Hospital for observation.
And I expect that they will be returning to their loved ones today, but obviously quite distressed over how they came to be in hospital and the fact that one of their party hasn't returned home.
Rescue efforts for the remaining man continued into the night and resumed again this morning, but just hours later his body was found without a life jacket.
My understanding was that he did have a life jacket on at one point, but for other reasons he's taken it off, and unfortunately this incident has occurred during the period that he wasn't wearing the life jacket.
There's still no sign of the boat the group was on. A report is now being prepared for the coroner.
Thank you, Aaron. Well, a firebug has made a botched getaway after torching a panel-beating workshop in Melbourne. They were seen fleeing engulfed in flames moments after the building was set alight.
A family-run business destroyed in minutes. Arsonists targeted the McEwen Road panel beaters around 2 this morning, flames swallowing the building, destroying everything in their path, including 14 vehicles and a truck inside.
This blaze was quite massive. We had structural collapse in 3 areas.
Fireys tackled the inferno from all angles to stop it spreading to a bikie clubhouse next door. It took 2 hours to bring under control a cocktail of dangerous chemicals, making firefighting efforts extra challenging.
Paint thinners, paints, oxyacetylene, the major risks to the crews.
Police say moments before the blaze, a tow truck was seen reversing into the business before 2 firebugs torched it and fled.
I'm actually worried as well as a business owner as well that we can be set upon as well.
Nearby workers say they saw a man engulfed in flames running from the area moments after the firebombing. Police are calling local hospitals to see if he sought emergency treatment.
You need to present to a hospital. You need to go there and be looked at, because those burns, even if you're not feeling anything, they're dangerous and you could end up dying from such injuries.
The workshop has been gutted and will now be demolished. Ainsley Kosh, 7 News.
Phones are falling silent and bookings deferred as our tourism operators begin to feel the petrol crunch. They fear it's becoming too expensive for a driving holiday and are calling on Tasmanians to get out and support the industry.
Arthur River Cruises is usually booked out weeks in advance. Now the family business is struggling to fill seats, only able to run 1 cruise a day.
We're just getting maybe 1 phone call a day, that's it. Our mainlanders are cancelling their trips until they can afford to come down as well.
The cause, they believe, is the cost of fuel.
Those people aren't coming out here, so all our local store will be affected, the local pub, Marrowa store, etc.
Old Mac's caravan park is still relatively full, but forward bookings are dropping off at a troubling rate.
For a lot of these guys, they've got big rigs, so the price of diesel, it takes $200 to fill up, their tow vehicle, and so that really sort of hampers their travel plan.
As the petrol price pain affects the whole state, questions being asked about how to manage the supply.
A number of industries that rely on fuel. In Tassie, the tourism industry is particularly reliant on fuel as well, so we need to be in those conversations.
But the message for Tasmanians is simple.
Get out and about and explore the regional areas around Tassie. Head to something that you haven't tried before.
Though the uncertainty remains.
The problem is the unknown and how long it's going to last for.
Billy Gibbons, 7 News.
And the world's top energy chief has delivered a stark warning on the troubles that lie ahead. Straight to Anthony Albanese. To Tim Lester in Canberra now. And Tim, the Prime Minister is scrambling to make sure we're not blindsided and left without a fuel supply.
He is, Kim, though there really are limits here as to how much can be guaranteed. The Prime Minister made public this afternoon a joint statement with Singapore, one of our biggest source countries for refined fuels. Now, there's good intent expressed on both sides, but ultimately there's nothing binding in it for either side. Trying to lock in fuel for Australia, the Albanese government confirms talks with key countries that refine our petrol, diesel and jet fuel.
Making sure that we can secure supply.
Overwhelmingly reliant on foreign refineries, Australia sources big quantities of fuel from South Korea and Singapore, Japan, Malaysia and China. This afternoon, the Prime Minister spoke with Singapore's PM Lawrence Wong, the two promising to support open trade flows.
This is a third world country situation that Anthony Albanese has sleptwalked into.
Definitely the risks in the near term are to the downside.
3 weeks into the Iran war, the ASX 200 has taken a pounding, down more than 9%.
It equates to something like 350 billion.
As the head of the International Energy Agency visits Canberra and warns even if the Iran war ended now, damage to energy assets means recovery would be slow.
The amount of oil we lost is equal to 2 oil price shocks in the 70s, which led the world to recession.
And pressure is building here for the government to hit one group that stands to profit from the Iran war, gas exporters, with a big new tax.
It's not their gas. It's not the government's gas. It's not the opposition's gas. It's our gas.
The visiting energy chief agrees Australians own the resource, but adds this warning.
Energy investors are like butterflies. When they are scared, they fly away.
Tim Lester, 7 News.
Well, to the Middle East now, where Iran is refusing to back down after Donald Trump issued his 48-hour ultimatum. The clock is ticking. Iran has just over 16 hours left to reopen the vital shipping route, or the US will obliterate its energy grid. Tehran says if that happens, not only will it retaliate, it will close the strait indefinitely.
Precision strikes, Iran's drone capabilities supposedly being ripped up, while in Israel fresh explosions decimate cars, buildings, cluster missiles raining down over Tel Aviv from the sky. Iran taunting the apprentice-turned-US president with this message.
Hey Tehran, you are fired. You are familiar with this sentence. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Using Donald Trump's catchphrase against him, Iran's president insists the Strait of Hormuz is open to all, except those who violate our soil. But if Trump keeps to his deadline, Tehran is vowing to completely close the strait and inflict maximum damage to US-linked water and energy facilities across the Gulf. Israel is backing in the US president's plan.
I think President Trump knows exactly what he's doing, and whatever we do together.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu surveying the damage where ballistic missiles pierced Israel's sophisticated Iron Dome defences twice, slamming into residential areas.
Whoa!
Utter destruction at this kindergarten not far from a nuclear research facility. No one killed, 160 injured across both sites, and an investigation launched.
What more proof do you need that this regime that threatens the entire world has to be stopped?
Well, this is what the direct hit from a ballistic missile looks like. You can see the crater just behind me. This is the play area of a kindergarten, and the building itself has been completely destroyed. There is play equipment inside, toys, all of it reduced to rubble. The human cost is being felt severely in Iran. Its reported death toll now more than 1,500. In the northeast city of Tabriz, 2 children and their father were killed during a strike on a residential area both sides of this war seemingly want to condemn. In Israel, Jacqueline Robson, 7 News.
Well, still in the Middle East, and the president of Lebanon fears Israel is about to launch a major ground invasion of his country. Chief reporter Chris Reason is there. Chris, Israel has started taking out key civilian infrastructure.
Good evening, Kim. Lebanon's president is warning his citizens to brace for a major ground offensive after Israel airstrikes destroyed a key bridge in what he said was an attempt to sever the north of the country from the south around the Litani River. Now, President Joseph Aoun saying that it was a prelude to a major ground offensive and eventual occupation of the south of this country. Israel says the route was being used for the distribution by Hezbollah of munitions and troops in that area. Lebanon says it cuts key communities from health, medicines and food supplies as well. We've already seen over 1,000 people killed in the conflict in this country and 1 million people displaced. Late last week, we saw evidence of Israel's major build-up of troops and munitions on that border area. Israel looking to call up some 450,000 reservists. Lebanon says it's reached out to Israel, proposing key peace talks, and so far they've yet to have a response. Kim?
Okay, thank you there. Chris Reason with the latest from the Middle East. Well, the Cuban government says its military is preparing for a potential attack as the US imposes a crippling oil blockade. After America captured Venezuela's president, Donald Trump said Cuba was next and the Caribbean nation could fall pretty soon. Cuba's deputy foreign minister says leaders would be naive to ignore the possibility of conflict. The island's power grid has collapsed for the second time in a week. Back home again, and a video showing a young man performing dangerous stunts on a motorbike is circulating online. The rider can be seen narrowly missing a car before performing elaborate tricks in what looks like the Clarendon Vale area. While the person responsible is yet to be identified, police are aware of the footage, warning riding recklessly on public roads is not just illegal, it puts a rider at serious risk of death or injury. The federal government has laid out new ground rules for tech giants using artificial intelligence. Among the demands for AI data centres are concerns of the massive amounts of water energy they require to operate. It also includes guidelines to make sure the tech is a benefit to the jobs market.
Under these expectations, data centre operators must put Australian people first.
However, the guidelines are only expectations and not necessarily requirements of data centres. Well, a major Tasmanian employer edges closer to the brink. Coming up, what's next for Liberty Bell Bay as administrators are called in. Also, a passenger plane collides with a fire truck at a busy airport. And can Game 2 live up to the magic of the Devils' inaugural VFL win? Hundreds of workers are tonight waiting to learn their fates as Liberty Bell Bay is handed over to administrators. Alessandro Rossini has been following this story for us. Alessandro, what does this new development mean for the struggling smelter?
Yeah, Kim, look, it's a fresh blow, but not the end of the road. The company's board of directors appointing EY as administrators who say they are going to do everything they can to either restructure the business or prepare it for sale. In a statement, the administrators said their focus is on stabilising the facility and finding a new owner, noting it's a critical piece of infrastructure. The state's resource minister also slamming the company, saying GFG Alliance failed to deliver on its commitments. But those words are little comfort for for taxpayers who are now wondering what this means for the $20 million of taxpayer-funded ore that was originally purchased to prop up the struggling business as 216 jobs hang in the balance. This latest development occurring only weeks after the Australian Securities and Investment Commission announced it would seek to wind up the company. So, Kim, this is both a nervous time not just for employees but also their families and the broader region, which relies heavily on Liberty Bell Bay to keep food on their table.
How true. Certainly been a long and drawn-out saga there. We hope for a better result soon. Thank you very much. Well, to our next local story now, and after a statement start to their VFL season, the Devils' focus now heads north. The club bracing for another big test, both on and off the field, and sorting out some teething issues along the way.
The dust has settled on what was an historic day for the club, but for the players, it's one that won't fade anytime soon.
I was amazed running out. Obviously a big build-up during the week. Even going into it, I didn't expect anything like that.
The Devils exploded out of the blocks in front of a sold-out crowd, matching it with Coburg, a side that finished inside the top 10 last season.
If you look at the stats, they pretty much beat us in everything. But I think we played a tough Tassie brand of footy. Nearly 90 tackles, I think.
While on-field effort stacked up off-field, the club admits there were some early teething issues.
We'll look at focusing on some of the smaller things that we can get done between now and next game to just enhance the patron experience.
With game 1 in the books, the focus now shifts to Port Melbourne in Launceston. Anyone attending the game at UTAS will notice the venue is in the midst of a $130 million redevelopment, but still expected to host a strong turnout.
If we got 6,000 to 8,000 there, that'd be fantastic.
This weekend capacity will probably be around 8,500, and at the moment we're not anticipating an attendance that will surpass that.
Plenty of time for the Devils to work on the words to their song.
It might be playing on repeat at training this week, I reckon. We'll see.
Lily Thompson, 7 News.
The ABC's live programs are expected to be thrown off air on Wednesday after staff voted to go on strike for the first time in 20 years. Insiders say the 24-hour stop work will see a significant reduction in television news, including the canning of the 7 p.m. bulletin. Radio programs will sound different, with managers expected to step in for regular announcers. Union members have rejected a 10% pay rise over 3 years, as well as a $1,000 sign-on bonus, which Managing Director Hugh Mark says is a balanced offer. Australia's second oldest botanical gardens is upping its game in a bid to lure more visitors from this year and beyond. The old cafe at the Royal Tasmanian Botanical Gardens in Hobart has been revamped after attracting $2 million of investment from renowned Adelaide winemaker Bird in Hand.
We wanted a presence down here in Hobart and we want to be part of the wonderful food and wine scene that Tasmania is so famous for.
It's a partnership which we're very excited about. It's a partnership which will bring huge benefit to community.
It's the latest in a series of recent upgrades at the gardens, costing more than $7 million. New York's LaGuardia Airport, one of America's busiest, has shut down after a passenger jet hit a truck on the runway. The disaster unfolded just hours ago. Authorities now trying to piece together what happened.
This is Jazz Airlines Flight 646, an Air Canada regional flight, nose in the air, with a gaping hole just under the cockpit, torn away after ploughing into an airport truck with police and firefighters on board.
It just lifted in the air. Holy.
It was dark and raining, but air traffic controllers watched the disaster unfold. First, desperately trying to alert the crew on the truck.
Stop, truck one, stop. Stop, truck one, stop.
And frantically instructing all approaching aircraft to abort their landings.
Delta 2603, go around, runway heading 2000.
But it was too late for these passengers and crew.
Jet 646, I see you collide with a vehicle here, just hold position, I know you can't move. The vehicles are responding to you now.
The plane, a smaller CRJ 900, had just landed from Montreal with around 80 passengers and crew on board. Everyone would have been seated with belts on, expecting to be in the terminal within minutes.
But the big question is where was the communication breakdown that allowed for this vehicle to end up on an active runway as a plane was landing?
Air travel right across America has been a nightmare in recent days because of security staff shortages. And with busy LaGuardia now closed, no one is going anywhere fast. In the United States, Rob Scott, 7 News.
A portrait of our Australian of the Year, Catherine Pennell-Begg, and mountaineer Michael Groom are among this year's contenders for the prestigious Archibald Prize.
I only started painting a couple of years ago, but it's become an obsession and a real passion for me.
Hundreds of pieces were hand-delivered by their artists to the Art Gallery of New South Wales today. The winner will be announced in May. An alleged teenage car thief has been savagely bitten by a police dog during a dramatic arrest in Melbourne. Police say the boy and his mates broke into a home, stole an Audi and took it on a wild high-speed chase.
Emerging from underneath a trampoline, teenage boys bolt from police, sprinting through a backyard, but one quickly learns his lesson. The 16-year-old screams as a police dog sinks its teeth into his arm.
I think it's probably the only punishment he's going to get.
For an alleged home invasion an hour earlier in Ashwood, where a couple was fast asleep. They woke to their dog barking and found teens inside their home.
I see 2 guys in the corridor. I don't think they saw me, so I think they were distracting by the dog.
But clearly did not care. The teens even turned on the light to check this dog couldn't get them. An omen for what was to come as the couple hid in their bedroom.
Just try to keep the door closed and try to minimize the sound from our bedroom.
Within minutes, the boys piled out with keys to the couple's Audi A1, which was then used for a wild joyride across Melbourne's southeast. The stolen Audi hit speeds of 190 k's an hour on the Monash freeway before police deployed stop sticks at this off-ramp. Still, they kept going for another 7 kilometres. But eventually, a front tyre fell off, forcing the trio to flee on foot. They ran through Narre Warren streets until they ran into police. This boy was taken to hospital where he remains tonight. His 2 17-year-old mates also arrested. They have now been charged.
We'll see how long until they're out.
Jordan Quinn, 7 News.
From housing the homeless to fighting addiction, Tasmanian community groups are sounding the alarm. Up next, why they're being pushed to the edge. And cops or prison guards who'll win this year's charity grudge match. Recapping this Monday's news headlines, every Tasmanian state school to close as teachers launch a full day of strike action. A man's body found on Robbins Island, 3 others safely rescued after they were thrown from a boat. Iran refuses to back down in the face of Donald Trump's 48-hour ultimatum. And water and energy use, a key inclusion in new rules for AI data centres in Australia. 20 Tasmanian community groups are warning they will reach breaking point without increased funding in the upcoming state budget. In an unprecedented plea, groups on the front line of issues like homelessness, mental health and drug use insist underinvestment will have far-reaching consequences, saying they're already filling the gap left by government services.
There is nothing about our life that hasn't been affected by all of this and waiting for services. I feel it in every part of my being, as do my children.
We provide a safety net for all Tasmanians, and right now that safety net is at risk.
The government says it thanks the sector for its work but won't preempt what will be in the budget. It's official. Kyle Sandilands is now suing his former employer. The sacked Kiss FM star claims ARN Media unlawfully tore up his $100 million contract following his heated on-air argument with co-host Jackie O. The company told investors this morning it had been served legal documents by Sandilands' team. The shock jock claims there were no grounds to sack him, alleging there has been no serious misconduct or breach of contract. Well, cricket is the latest sport to be engulfed by the undeniable wave of AI technology. A new cutting-edge system is helping revolutionise training.
Cricketers spend hours training to be automatic. That automation turning to transformation.
Great setup and great facilities, so we're lucky to have it at our training setup.
Hits Cricket, an Australian first, a technology changing the face of the tried and tested net sessions, capable of producing around 1 million different types of deliveries to face, pace, swing, seam and spin, preparing any player for any conditions.
Yeah, boys could definitely set up fast outswing, and you get those cues of him running into bowl, and you practice your routines as well. So I'm sure a few of the lads will be in here over the next few weeks, practicing for sure.
Well, we've let Will handle the quicks, and rightly so. Now I'm going to take on what is widely considered the best ball ever delivered in the history of cricket. The Gatting ball, Shane Warne's first delivery in England, and his most memorable.
And he's done it.
It's so good. I think no doubt a few of the boys will be in here using it, maybe facing a few of their South Australian quicks.
The new wave of AI changing the face of cricket.
Well, it was a case of wrong place, wrong time for this man who was driving cautiously along a treacherous stretch of coastal road when his car was suddenly swallowed by a landslide. It happened in Turkey. Rescuers found the 44-year-old under a mountain of debris. He was taken to hospital with minor injuries. And Dinah's got an unexpected light show when a fireworks stall caught alight outside a restaurant in Malaysia. Workers dodged the sparks as they shuttered the business. The stall was destroyed, but it seems no one was injured. Well, police will face off against prison officers in a friendly footy match this weekend. They're raising money for Speak Up, Stay Chatty and hoping to foster important conversations around mental health in the service.
It's about coming together and speaking about those things and creating an environment where we don't shy away from talking about those things anymore.
We're really tough individuals. We let us show a bit of vulnerability by having conversations around mental health and saying, sometimes I'm not okay, and that's actually okay to not be okay.
Police have won the past few years, but the prison service feels this might be the year that they just turn it all around. The men's match will kick off at 10:30 Saturday morning, followed by the women's. No childcare, no worries. Organisers step in to make sure there's no excuses for this year's Kananyana to run. And the baton relay hits the beach with a cause close to the King's Heart.
Get the news wherever you are on the 7 News app. Download now.
Let's start this break by taking a look at the day's business and finance news brought to you by MCMF Investment and Lending. And the Australian stock market has clawed back some of its losses from this morning's trade, but still finished the day 0.75% in the red. The ASX 200 index closing 62.5 points down, now the lowest since May last year. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at just over 69.5 US cents and 111 Japanese yen. Well, volunteers have given themselves a well-deserved pat on the back after feeding almost 400 people at last year's Christmas community lunch. Those behind the decade-long event came together today to celebrate its success.
I mean, it absolutely wouldn't happen without the close to 100 volunteers supporting this event.
To work alongside all of the other organisations, volunteers and sponsors to deliver this event every year for the Launceston community, it's a privilege.
Catholic Care Tasmania will share hosting responsibilities with the St Vincent de Paul Society for next year's Christmas lunch. Singer Delta Goodrem has kicked off her Eurovision campaign, performing her entry song Eclipse at a fan event in Oslo, and she brought the Aussie charm.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
Symphony music competition will take place in Vienna in May. The King's Baton Relay landed in Townsville this morning, spreading an important message ahead of the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. For the first time, the baton is also a catalyst for a special environmental endeavour in the King's name.
If they handed out medals for community spirit, this group would surely be on the podium.
I got lots of glass. There's a lot of glass.
They're collecting rubbish from the beach at Rose Bay in Townsville, an effort organised to coincide with the King's Baton Relay.
To see such a concerted effort going into making sure that we're looking after, our homes and the beautiful parts of nature that we have, it's good to see.
The aim is to reduce plastic pollution and improve the health of our waterways, in keeping with King Charles's lifelong environmental drive. It's an added dimension to the Baton Relay in the lead up to the Commonwealth Games.
I've been a fan of his for way back because he was an environmentalist when it wasn't popular. Now everyone sort of knows he was right.
It's also a chance to see the baton and mingle with athletes.
It's pretty incredible. It's one of those things you see as a kid, I think, and to be standing here and doing this now, it really is a dream come true.
The fact that we have the opportunity to compete, particularly in today's climate, is just unbelievable.
The relay has already landed in Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, and each place has staged a similar cleanup. Their goal is to remove 1 million pieces of plastic from the environment before the start of the Glasgow Commonwealth Games in July. The King's Baton leaving its mark by what's not left behind. Max Futcher, 7 News.
A young Collingwood fan facing the fight of his life has had his dream come true. 5-year-old Logan, who was diagnosed with neuroblastoma, spent the morning at Magpies headquarters. After a guided tour and watching training, he had the chance to meet his idols.
Who's your favourite player?
The family hopes the visit helps raise awareness of the rare childhood cancer. The no childcare excuse is officially off the table for Kanani mountain runners. Organisers are once again offering a handy childminding option so parents can hit the trails stress-free. A bush play drop-off service will run alongside the event, while more than 1,000 participants take to the tracks.
Of course, babies and toddlers aren't easy to take care of, so the bush play is for ages 5 and up.
There's also something new this year, a 5-kilometre foothills run or walk, while serious runners can tackle a gruelling 66-kilometre ultra marathon. Well, sport is next with Aaron Smith. Good evening to you, Aaron. Now the Pies are treading carefully with a forgotten star.
Kim, the club has spoken on Bobby Hill's chances of making a comeback, plus the man who's mentored the Pies premiership hero. And then more than 2,000 rowers hit the water at Lake Barrington as the National Championships get underway. Collingwood says Bobby Hill is a long way off returning to the playing field after taking months off with personal leave. The premiership hero has turned to Eddie Betts to mentor him on his road back.
With champion forward Eddie Betts on board as a mentor, Bobby Hill back on track at Pies HQ after 3 months of personal leave. Now for a sustained block to build fitness.
He's still got a long way to go, Mitch. He's done a bit of training, but he's really just at the start line. One thing we probably should anticipate that it may not be linear.
The 26-year-old likely to need at least a month before he's considered for a VFL return, but Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe train fully, both fit to face GWS Friday night. More pain at the Bombers, Dyson Sharp with an ankle injury, Mason Redman needing surgery and out for more than 4 weeks to repair a torn meniscus. No team has conceded more points in an opening fortnight this decade. Brad Scott admits some players lack the desire to defend.
I think it's part of it, yeah. Because it'd be ridiculous for me to say that's not the case. We're not hard-nosed enough in defence, full stop.
Last 2 weeks, pretty crap to be honest, on the field. We still have to keep vibes up around the club for sure, so it's a long season, stuff can change.
Charlie Comben cleared by the MRO to face the Bombers after his hit on Harley Reid. Tigers captain Toby Nankervis to miss up to 2 months with his hamstring. Tom Lynch, 5 weeks. While Tom Liberatore will be sidelined after the Bulldogs bye, straining his hamstring in the third quarter against Adelaide, remarkably playing on for a game-high 8 final quarter disposals. Mitch Cleary, 7 News.
Patrick Dangerfield and Mark Blitzers are in doubt for Thursday's clash with the Crows. There's no concern over Jeremy Cameron though, who used some bizarre treatment over the bye to get himself right.
3 days out from a Thursday night blockbuster and the Cats' biggest draw card was back in the rehab group. Patrick Dangerfield trained away from the main group for the period that media was permitted at training, while Mark Blitzers also laboured through his run-throughs alone. Jeremy Cameron had his arm strapped but allayed any fears over his selection.
Yeah, it's pretty good, yeah. Sorry. It's pretty good, yeah.
And he has an unorthodox rehab technique to thank.
So the club's blended wood cutting into my arm rehab, so it's all part of strengthening the arm and the body.
Cameron not fazed by Geelong's tough early schedule of Gold Coast, Fremantle and Adelaide.
You've got to play these teams at some point and, yeah, we might as well play them early.
The Crows will be on best behaviour after copping an informal warning from the AFL, with Ben Keys telling this fan to play keepings off on Friday.
Oh, bit of gamesmanship.
And Sean Manor has signed a 3-year extension at the Cats after being named the Young Player of the Year in 2025.
Everything you do is for a reason, and throughout my whole footy journey it's been to get me to this point.
The 28-year-old was overlooked in 7 AFL drafts before the Cats struck gold in 2023.
If you end up at Geelong, you fit the footy jackpot, and I certainly feel like that.
Xander Maguire, 7 News.
It could be cricket's ultimate test of stamina. Our Aussie team will play an incredible 10 test matches in just 14 weeks. From August, the Aussies play a mix of home and away series against Bangladesh, South Africa, New Zealand, India and England.
I think you ask the players in the test team if they want to have a rest, and absolutely not. You know that the guys playing love playing. They don't like sitting and watching.
No test players will be available for next summer's Big Bash. Jess Hull won silver in the 1500 metres on the final day of the World Indoor Athletics Championships in Poland. Fellow Aussie Adam Spencer won bronze in the men's 1500, while Peter Boll was 4th in the 800. Australia finished with 5 medals in total, 2 silver and 3 bronze. A record 1,800 entries have signed up for the Australian Rowing Championships, paddlers taking to the water for more than 100 events this week at Lake Barrington. Today's opening races saw our university squad claim victory in Heat 7 of the women's under-19 single scull, beating runner-up Queensland by 13 seconds. Tassie's men also came out on top in the same event. More heats will resume tomorrow from 8 a.m, culminating in the under-19 men's quarterfinals later that evening. Tasmanian motocross rider Jed Beaton has bounced back from last season's injuries, taking a pair of wins at round 1 in Wonthaggi. Beaton had a shaky start in Moto 1 but made up ground quickly, finishing the race 46 seconds ahead of the pack. While in Moto 2, victory for the Tasmanian was never in doubt after taking the lead from Kyle Webster in the first 2 minutes. And once his rival crashed later in the race, Beaton secured another podium by a healthy margin. And in cycling, Devonport's Oliver Sims has claimed a solo victory at stage 3 of the Q Tour. The 20-year-old mounted an impressive attack heading into the final mountain climb, soon leaving the peloton in his dust as riders struggled to respond. Sims held a 1-minute lead by the time he crossed the finish line, the performance good enough to secure him 3rd place in the standings as the tour draws to a close. And that's all in sport, Kim.
Hey, thank you, Aaron. Kiah will join us after the break with the weather forecast.
Good evening. It's great to be back with you this Monday. St Helens turning on the goods today with 28 degrees. Butler's Gorge the overnight minimum. Friendly Beaches and Ouse 25, 24 in Burnie, Launceston 23, King Island, Devonport and Huonville 21, 20 in Hobart and Lyowini, Strawn 19. Now a cold front made its way across the state today, bringing some cloudy conditions and a few patchy showers. There's still a chance of possible thunderstorms this evening across the Midlands. Tomorrow, a trough of low pressure lingers across Tasmania. A ridge of high pressure dominates central and eastern Australia. Darwin and Cairns still copping showers, heavy rainfall in Broome as that tropical low approaches. Some showers and cloudy skies along the majority of the eastern seaboard. Ex-tropical cyclone Narelle moves on from the territory and approaches the west. Now it's likely to re-intensify to a developing cyclone again tomorrow. East-southeasterly winds 15 to 25 knots, up to 30 knots about the southwest, tending north-northeasterly about the northeast. Southwesterly swells at 2 to 3 metres. A strong wind warning is in place tomorrow for coastal waters between Southeast Cape around to Low Rocky Point and also the lower east coast. Showers across the Apple Isle tomorrow. 20's the top in Port Arthur, 18 for most remaining districts, 1 up in Bruny with 19, 16 in Bushy Park. Flinders Island 25, 23 for Bridport, Scottsdale, Launceston and also at St Helens, Deloraine, Campbelltown and Bichenoak 21. 22 on King Island, Devonport and Sheffield, heavier falls along the northwest with 21, 21 too along the west coast, 16 at Lake St Clair. Isolated showers about the north on Wednesday, extending statewide. Possible afternoon thunderstorms about the east. Thursday, showers continue about the west and the south, extending across most districts later. And on Friday, showers across most areas, although remaining dry along the north and the Tamar. A few cool conditions in Hobart on Thursday and Friday. Launceston also dipping to 17 on Friday. 2 to 15 mils expected in Devonport and Burnie on Tuesday. Taking a look at our current temperatures now. Lovely to be back with you, Kim. I'm not sure where the weekend's gone.
Did go quickly. Thank you very much, Kiah. I'll see you tomorrow. That brings us to the end of tonight's news. Thanks for your company. For now, from the team, it's good night.